Catherine, great to have you on the show. And you've been slaving away on these trade deals, haven't you? You've actually, the government, we should say, the Department for International Trade, asked you to come in and give them the benefit of your expertise scrutinising these trade deals.
Well, not all of them. I was on a panel of about a dozen people who were scrutinising the agricultural section of the Australian deal. We published our report to government last week, and it was tabled in Parliament yesterday. So we're now allowed to talk about it. We discovered that there were no problems with the Australian deal as concerns UK law or UK animal SPS,
The health and safety standards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The sanitary and phytosanitary regulations or animal welfare regulations or anything that would block this trade deal from going through. It will now go through being scrutinised by politicians and hopefully be ratified. But that is a slow process. We are unlikely to be seeing increased goods from Australia until next year, which is very depressing when you listen to GBNews talking about increases in food prices, because the other problem with this trade deal is that the things that Australia produces most efficiently are seeing the tariffs lowered and the quotas increased very slowly over about 15 years for beef.
Those quotas letting more of that Aussie beef, more produce in general, come to the UK.
Tariff-free,
the tariffs being the charges on those imports for Aussie producers.
Because our tariffs are incredibly high. Right now, chilled beef's average tariff is 38.7%.
Wow.
And sheep meat
is... That's a tax on exporting goods from Australia into the UK.
Yes, and sheep meat is 42.7%. And frozen beef is 55.4%.
That's really high. I had no idea they were that high.
And that's why. And then they say, "Oh, well, they only import about 1,000 tonnes." Going, I can't believe they.
So those tariffs are going to be eroded, whittled away over a number of years.
That's the average tariff, but the actual tariff depends on the cut of the beef, and it has two tariffs. One is a percentage of the cost, and the other is a straight. So many pounds a kilo tariff added as well. So they are very, very high. This was put in place by the EU to protect EU farmers.
That's the customs union, the EU's customs union that we've talked about, you and me, over the years so much. And how quickly will those tariffs be eroded? Over a number of years, decades?
Yes. Unfortunately, 15 years, 10 years probably, you'll see the maximum quota will be cut. But they still have, for another 5 years, they'll have the ability to limit the amount that comes in if they feel it is affecting UK farmers. So
if you are a British farmer, you're farming beef, you're farming lamb, whatever it is, should you be concerned about these Australian and New Zealand trade deals, the impact on your livelihood? And similarly, if you're a consumer looking for the price of food to come down, should you be expecting those reductions anytime soon?
Yeah, well, if you're a consumer, you should be concerned that MPs have not done anything for you, and you should be complaining to your MP about why it's taking so long to cut these costs, because they are massive. And if you're a UK farmer, you're already not producing enough to feed this nation. We import 45% of the food and drink that we consume each year. The International Meat Trade Association have done some calculations, and they think we would need another 1.5 million cattle to feed the UK, 5 million more sheep, and 1.5 billion more chickens. 1,500
million more chickens?
Yes, if we were to be self-sufficient in food. Now, we do not have...
That's a lot of wings.
Well, we don't have the space and we don't have the feed, because even if you're keeping all of those animals in sheds in very intensive production methods, which we do with chickens already, you have to import the feed.
Now, you are an economist. You're very expert in trade. You're originally from Australia. You obviously live here now. You're a very internationally minded person. What would you say to me if I said that Britain needs to produce more of its own food in order to secure, food supplies? Food security, like energy security, has rocketed up the political agenda in the light of this conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Is there any merit in that argument?
Well, we would have to change our diets completely and go back to the sort of thing we were eating 200 years ago. In fact, probably 400 years ago. The UK has been importing food for a long time. So you could forget, your bananas, your oranges, your pineapples, all of that stuff, that's gone. You could live on cabbages and cauliflowers and, carrots.
Quince. Medlar fruits.
Medlars, and you would also, as I said, we have a much bigger population. Even, post-war or when we joined the EU...
In the early 70s.
In the early 70s, we're importing a lot of our food from the colonies, from Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, Canada. We still import most of our wheat from Canada, and we do get a lot from the Ukraine.
But have we got enough land? I mean, the state of our arable land, a lot of it's set aside, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to get worse too, because the government...
What sort of share of UK arable land is set aside, not being used, do you think?
Well, it's about... was comparing it once to New Zealand, and I did look at this, and it's about 70% of UK land is used in agriculture at the moment. Now, New Zealand, when they stopped subsidising their farmers, which the UK has still not done, they dropped from about 60% of their land being used for agriculture to about 40%. But the bits that were being used for agriculture were being used a lot more effectively. And so they got rid of a lot of the marginal land which was not being used properly. Now, the UK is talking about lowering its payments for just having land. The unfortunate thing is the basic subsidy from the EU that we inherited just gave you money for owning the land. Provided you had like 12 cows on it, you could get money per hectare. But they're now moving to what they call the countryside stewardship scheme, where they will pay them to grow wildflowers or, plant trees, which will take a lot of land out of production, but I'm hoping it'll take the marginal land out rather than the really good quality arable land. But if we keep increasing our population, we're not, we can't feed ourselves. Get over it.